Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another Blu-ray review from us at over here at Chasing Labels. I'm Stephen Billings, and of course we got Andrew Cabral here, and we are back again for some more Criterion Blu-ray reviews. This time we are in February, and we got a couple new releases to talk about, one each from each of us. I have the new 4K upgrade of the 1957 film 310 to Yuma. And Andrew Cabral over there has...
I have The Man Who Wasn't There, the Coen Brothers film from 2001, and one that people have been waiting for quite a long time to make its, I guess, Criterion debut, because it's already been on Blu-ray, but to make its Criterion upgrade, if you will. Yeah, I don't know which one we want to talk about first. I don't know if we want to draw straws or something.
No, we don't have to draw straws. I mean, but I do want to go over the other films that are going to be out this month before we jump into what's here. I know that 310 to Yuma just hit shelves Tuesday, but let's go ahead and go through what else is dropping here in February. Let's see.
Yes, so for this month, I believe A Woman Under the Influence is getting a single release, actually. It's just the same Blu-ray, I believe, that was in the John Cassavetes box set.
Yeah.
Of course, A Woman Under the Influence being an all-time great movie, I think, in my opinion, starring Gina Rowlands. And yeah, it's been around, and I know it's in many people's collections. It's even in that CC40 big Criterion Essential set as well. It's been available on DVD, Blu-ray, but I believe it's the same exact disc that's already in that Blu-ray set if you have that already. Speaking of something else that's also in a Blu-ray set is the movie Playtime. The Jacques Tati film is getting I believe, a 4K UHD upgrade. So there is a Blu-ray that they released by itself, and then there's a Blu-ray that I think had a new restoration that they put in the Jacques Tati box set that they put out many years ago, which I have actually, and also now they're putting it out in 4K UHD because I think it got a new 4K restoration recently. I think they were showing it at film festivals, cool places that neither Stephen and I have access to.
Yes.
But yeah, so there's that, and then the movie Cloud, which is a Kiyoshi Kurosawa film. Now, Kiyoshi Kurosawa did the movie Cure, which got a Criterion release. And this is another one of his films. There've been a lot of his stuff that's been getting released lately. So I've been watching a lot more Kiyoshi Kurosawa films than I ever have before. And also coming out this month is Eclipse Series 8, the Lubitsch musicals. Now this is interesting because it's a re-release of a previous Eclipse set that was only available on DVD. So now they're re-releasing it on Blu-ray, which is kind of cool. I don't think there's any new special features with that, but you do get several of Lubitsch musicals. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 Lubitsch films, which is
awesome.
Always nice to have.
Yeah.
And let's see. Of course, I think the biggest one of the month, and the one I think everybody's clamoring to get, probably either now or upcoming sales, flash sales, Barnes & Noble sales, is Network.
Yep.
Network is the big one.
I was really hoping to get that.
That's the one I think number one with a bullet and in a priority list for Criterion enthusiasts.
Yes.
It's going to be one that people have long wanted. Now, that's been available on Blu-ray for years, since 2011, 2012 from Warner Brothers. But this is something people wanted just in general because it's a Sidney Lumet film. Lumet's been in the collection before in many ways. He's been in for 12 Angry Men, Failsafe, The Fugitive Kind, and The Wiz, which got released last year. But now we have Network, which I think is one of the most prophetic movies when it comes to the world of entertainment consumption and just our society.
It's one of the best incredible. Satirical films that still holds weight really heavily today. It's not lost it at all. It's up there with I'm blanking on the Stanley Kubrick movie. Dr.
Strangelove?
Strangelove. Like Doctor Strangelove still holds a lot of weight. Like some can lose some of their steam out with the times, but them two right there are big ones. But
Yeah, and you would think even Doctor Strangelove would be so outlandish when it comes to political satire that you would never believe these things would become true, and they are. Same thing with Network, where Network is about this kind of sensationalism of like human consumption of the masses. Like people will watch anything,
yeah,
if and the movie was definitely prophetic in that because if you look at the world now, people are crazy when it comes to like what they believe, what they don't believe, what they consume. Everything they see online, they'll think is true. Everything they see on their television, the news, and all that stuff, they'll think it's true. But anyway, Network was way ahead of its
yeah,
time. That's the big release of the month.
it
Really,
is.
really is.
Cloud is apparently very good. Saw it in theaters.
It is
And
very good.
oh, you've seen it. You've seen it.
Yeah, I saw it, and we talked about it here on Chasing Labels at the time. Yeah, so talk about a movie that's interestingly kind of modern day. It's about a factory worker who quits his job and to pursue a side business of reselling um like items online, but they're like cheap knockoff items, but
Yeah.
he's selling them at like a markup. And it kind of shows this idea of taking advantage of people can come back to bite you, or
Mm.
like trying to skim the system or work the system in your favor can come back to bite you. Kiyoshi Kurosawa does really good, like tense thrillers like that. Yeah, I'm thinking of Cure, which is very much in line with like Seven. Seven and Cure, David Fincher's film, are very similar. And Kiyoshi Kurosawa, I think, is really, really good.
Awesome. Well, I'll start us off with
Okay.
since I have the kind of the re-release. So 310 to Yuma, 1957. If you haven't heard of the film, haven't seen this or the remake, we have our main you have co-leads, but our kind of main character, Dan Evans, played by Van Heflin, is a farmer rancher. He's got his two sons and his wife, and their ranch is kind of failing. They witness the robbery of a stagecoach by Ben Wade and his gang, and they also murder a couple people. And so now they get kind of caught up in a situation where they're the witnesses, and when the police, when the sheriff and his gang, they get kicked out of the town, and then he gets kind of, they go back into town and they capture Wade, and it becomes about getting Wade to Yuma prison. He's got to go to contention where the 310 to Yuma is going to take him to prison. That's the story. I mean, it's a very simple story, but very, it's got a lot of thematic weight in it. A weight about, legacy and how we treat, how we go about our life philosophy. Stealing. It's kind of almost like Robin Hood. It's kind of got that like, oh, do you steal from the rich? Who cares? But in the stealing of the rich, there's people get killed. You ruin lives. Dan Evans is a very blue collar worker, goes by the law. He's trying to set an example for his family, and yeah, it's very human, a very human story wrapped up in a very kind of contained thriller. It's great, visually stunning, directed by Delmer Daves, which I know I've seen at least one of his. I think he did a noir I love.
Yeah, Dark Passage.
Dark Passage. That's right. So, yeah, really good film, good Western. I would say that, and if you follow us on Instagram, I've been posting a lot of reviews, little excerpt reviews. But like the remake, I think is even better. I think it's perfect. I love this movie. I think it explores the themes even more. It takes the original and pulls it out of the kind of classic Western and turns it more into a revisionist Western. It's more violent. It's probably a little bit closer to what it really was like. during that time. And I think the acting, though, of course, the acting in the original Glenn Ford, and it's all great, but I think they take it up a step here in this one. So if you like the original and you haven't seen the remake, or vice versa, check out the other, because they're both great films. Andrew, I know you've seen it.
I have seen it. So I saw it years and years ago because I have the Criterion Blu-ray. You could mistake the Criterion Blu-ray for the for the new 4K. It is the same exact cover here.
It's the same.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, no new special features. There's no.
No.
It's literally just an upgrade to 4K. So.
Right, but the special features that are on there are there's an interview with Elmore Leonard, who is the author of the book in which the movie is based on. And then there's also an interview with Glenn Ford's son, Peter Ford. They both run about 15 minutes long, and I think they're both really, really good. For only having two special features, I think they're very insightful. Especially Elmore Leonard, because he passed away around the time that I think this Blu-ray originally came out. He passed away in 2013.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of one of the last interview things that he did probably before he passed. And Elmore Leonard, many of his books and his work were adapted.
Super influential. I mean,
very influential.
Jackie Brown.
Yeah, what's the show? I always forget it. Justified.
Justified.
Yep. Yeah, so that's based off of a character that he wrote. The movie Jackie Brown is based off of his novel Rum Punch. Of course, Get Shorty is based off of his book Get Shorty. And then, of course, its sequel Be Cool, I think, was also based off of his work as well. But there was also plenty of other stuff going back all the way to 1957. I think this was the first or second adaptation of one of his works. So his work goes way back to the early 1950s, and I didn't realize Elmore Leonard was that old.
He's old. He's old.
He passed away in his 80s. I think he was born in 1925, passed away in 2013. But he was known for writing a lot of Western novels, and he talked about in his interview how he had to adapt over time because the Western kind of went out of favor after a while. But back in the 50s, Westerns were huge. They were, famously people called them the comic book movies of their day. How over the last 20 years ago or so, comic book movies have been the most popular cinema. Back in the day, Westerns were the most popular cinema. And To Yuma is a really good Western. It's considered one of the best Westerns ever. And of course, it got the remake in 2007 by James Mangold, starring Russell Crowe and Christian Bale and all that.
And Ben Foster.
Ben Foster's in that
show. And he took Charlie Prince and granted, the actor from the original that plays Charlie Prince, Richard Jekyll, I think that's how you say his last name. He's good, but he's not the menacing presence that Ben Foster. They take that character and turn him up to 11. I mean, it's crazy. And that's the one thing, and that's the one thing about, and that's why I love the new one so much, is the new one is very gritty and grizzled, and it feels like the Old West, whilst in 1957 classic Western, everything looks pretty clean.
Yeah, everything is different.
It's polished.
Yeah, very much so. But what is interesting is a lot of that grittiness, I feel is all underneath. The Glenn Ford character.
Oh, it is, for sure.
Is so interestingly, not even dynamic. He's reserved. He's not over the top menacing. He's not, lethally dangerous, but he still gives that presence of, authority. Yeah. And, he has a reputation about him. He has an aura about him, really. Because when they hear the name Ben Wade in the movie, they automatically know who it is, and they take that threat seriously. Yeah. And for me, the movie is lean and trim at about 95 minutes or so. For me, Steven, I don't, because I know this was the first time you had seen it. The first time I saw it, I felt once they get to the not even the third act, halfway into the movie, when they get to contention and they're waiting for the train, that's when I felt the whole movie almost came to a grinding halt. Mm-hmm. The pacing of the movie kind of stops there. and you're
Well,
kind of literally waiting around with them in real time for the train.
well, the thing is the short story that this is based on is literally that. I think that scene. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
I mean, like it's a short story, so it doesn't. A lot of what the movie is been built around the short story, which is this particular hotel moment, these scenes, and they talk about stuff together and stuff. And that's it. I don't think there's much more than that.
Right, and that
Um,
is kind of the heart of the dynamic of the movie are these two characters in Ben Wade and the Van Heflin character, Dan, and how they're kind of dynamically different people.
well, their moral differences, their ethical differences, their and Ben Wade being kind of like the devil, trying to
Mm.
like find ways to make Dan Evans do the wrong thing. I mean, that's
Oh,
kind of
he's
how
tempting him constantly.
he's always. I mean, that's definitely the way that I think it's portrayed in the '57 film. I think he's very much kind of like more of a talker than a doer. He very much can influence. He's very much a leader. He's very much like you said, like you don't see him do a lot of. He's not like very. He's not like Russell Crowe's version where you see him shoot people and he's lethal. Like you see it once, but then you see Russell Crowe do it a few more times than what Glenn Ford does, and he doesn't show off. He just kind of has an aura about him, like you said, and people follow. And
Yeah,
he's got a way of talking you into stuff, and he tries to do that with Dan Evans a lot, especially in this scene where he tries to offer him money, because that's really why he does this whole thing. Dan Evans is doing this to save his farm, not for anything else. And he's not trying to be a hero. He's trying to just let his family survive on their farm longer. So
mm. Yeah,
yeah,
I've always been a big fan of Glenn Ford. Uh, Glenn Ford as well as Van Heflin. I feel like two. I wouldn't say underappreciated actors, but I feel like if you're not into like classic Hollywood and stuff like that, you may not know who these people are.
yeah,
Even when during the interview with Peter Ford, Glenn Ford's son, he did make mention that like people kind of may only know Glenn Ford because he played Pa Kent in the
yeah,
Richard Donner Superman movie, and like that's kind of how people remember him. And but he had a
yeah. A
whole
whole career
long
before that. Yeah,
career before that. Where he was like one of like Hollywood's like biggest stars at one point, like back in the 50s and the 40s. He
it,
was in one of the best noirs of all time in Gilda,
yeah,
with Rita
yeah.
Hayworth.
That just
Uh,
got a re-release, or that's just
yes,
about to
it
get one.
is.
Yeah,
Yes, it is. That's something I definitely want to actually re-get.
yeah.
I've had that Blu-ray for years, but it's one of
But
my favorite noirs.
one thing that is a little interesting about his character, uh, his the visual characterization of him, is that he does have like the most un-westerny type of, like he's got that slick back hair, like he's like in a mob movie, and I'm like, is that what they would be doing in the West?
I don't know. They take artistic license.
Yeah, I
I
was
mean,
like, it's just like I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if they
I
would
mean,
have
they
like
did.
hair oil out in the West, and they're just
I
like slicking
guess.
their
I
hair
mean, if
back
you're gonna
every
have
day.
something, it's interesting because that reminds me that Glenn Ford, of course, like I just mentioned, he was in film noirs. Like
Yeah,
the one person that comments mentioned that he was in The Big Heat, which is another massive film noir by Fritz Lang. So it's like at the time, kind of not mixing genres because there is a not so much a film noir element to this movie, but it's got those darker elements in it. Like you said, that whole kind of devil temptation thing that's in there. The
it
fact that it's the old west and it's dangerous, it's lawless. Film noir has a lot of
it
crime
it has a
involved in it.
yeah, it does have a noir element to it because it is more of a thriller than it is an action picture compared to other westerns. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not like a cavalry action film like with
Yeah,
John Wayne and John Ford and
yeah,
then that kind of stuff. It's way more subdued. It's more thematically deeper than just like than being on horseback and getting in
yeah,
shootouts and stuff like that. Although there are shootouts, obviously at the end of the movie and whatnot.
sure.
But yeah, for me, also Van Heflin, I feel like is underappreciated too. Van Heflin, Oscar award-winning actor. Van Heflin, he won an Oscar for the movie Johnny Eager, which I think is one of the most underrated film noirs ever, in my opinion. Where's my Blu-ray of that? anybody listening. Nobody ever listens to my opinion, but
Adam Schofield says Glenn
yeah.
Ford in 310 embodies something of great characters who make you question what side you are on.
Yeah, it also makes you question. It also kind of puts you in the
Yeah.
place of the Van Heflin character, where like, what would you do in this situation if somebody was offering you money to let them go?
Yeah.
Um, in that situation where you could potentially die. Like
Yeah.
you said, Stephen, if he's only escorting this prisoner for money, then get the money any way you can.
Yeah.
Money's the goal. You know.
Yeah, it starts that way, but I think obviously by the end of it, there's more to it than that. It's about like a sense of pride, a sense of like example that he's trying to set for his family. He's not.
There's a
Yeah,
shift
yeah,
mentally for the Van Heflin character at some
yeah,
point in the movie where it becomes about more than the money. It becomes
yeah,
about proving something,
yeah,
pride, accomplishing a goal that's larger than yourself.
yeah,
Which, I mean, this idea of heroism in the West, masculinity in the West is a big thing that
yeah,
was throughout
sure.
all the westerns of the time, and just
And
in a lot of genres.
and in the remake, like I said, it's more of a revisionist. They double down on that in the remake, where he isn't just a rancher, but he's a ex-military, who's got one leg.
Mm.
And then there's a surprise later about that near the end of the story that makes you feel the desperation of his character even more, because I think they explore that needing to like prove something to his family and especially his sons, like about who he is as a man, like and that's doubled down on and explored way more in the remake than I think in
Oh yeah,
this
in the
movie.
original, it's there,
It's
but
there, but the
it's
kids
not
are barely
explored a lot.
the kids are not in the wife. The wife's in the movie in the 57 version more than in the remake, but the kids are barely in the original.
Right.
And they're really forefront, or at least the what's his name, Logan Lerman, the older son. So, but yeah, it's it's a great Western, a great story. I would never want it to be redone again, because these two are
Well, I mean, they've
both.
done it twice already. I mean,
Well, yeah, but god damn it, if it's successful, Andrew, we just do him over and over again.
I know, I
This
know.
time we do it. This time we do it in space.
This is,
You know?
I mean, they're doing Cape Fear again, so you'll never
Yeah,
know. I just found that news the other day. This is going to be dated if somebody watches this in a year, but they're doing another adaptation of Cape Fear. So there's the
yeah,
one they did with Robert Mitchum and Gregory Peck. There's the one with Robert De Niro, the Martin Scorsese one, and now they're doing another adaptation of Cape Fear as well.
yeah.
So talk about doing something three times. They could do another 310 to Yuma. I mean, they're always trying to bring the Western back, so you never know. But when it comes to this release in general, or at least the release that you have, Steven, I'm assuming it looked great, sounded
It's
great.
fantastic. Yeah,
Um, we were talking about it earlier before the show that the Blu-ray looked amazing.
yeah,
So the 4K must look even better because it was already restored in 4K back when this Blu-ray came out in 2013. So I'm assuming that the 4K looks good too.
crisp, man, crisp and beautiful. It's always amazing when films of that time look as good as they do. Criterion restores these pristine condition.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it was made yesterday.
Yeah, good looking black and white cinema is some of my favorite. Coincidentally, the man who wasn't there is also in black and white,
Yeah.
which we will get to.
Well, I was
I don't know
just
if you
going to
want to
say
make that
before.
transition
No,
now.
no, no. It's a great transition. I'm sorry to mess it
Okay.
up, but you got ahead of me. I was going to say, I'm always amazed. I think the most amazing. You said black and white. I was going to say color films that Criterion is anything that they do for Powell and Pressburger. Like
Oh
that
yeah,
shit. That shit looks like it was made yesterday. Like when
yeah,
you watch Black Narcissus and you're like, when was that movie made? Like what, 1950 something? You're like, what?
right. Yeah, I always
Looks
think
amazing.
Red Shoes. The
Red
Red Shoes got
shoes.
a 4K release, and I had to rebuy that, even though I already have the Blu-ray. But you have to rebuy something, especially something that's in Technicolor. Technicolor looks so good. Um, and yeah, I've always been a big fan of lush color, Technicolor, and black and white. Yeah, Adam Schofield says he has a signed copy by Elmore Leonard of his Western stories,
Awesome.
which is kind of impressive considering
That's
he's
awesome,
now
sir.
passed. That's got to be quite a collector's item.
Hmm. Well, all right. Back
Okay,
to you, sir. Please
back
tell
to
us
me.
about The Man Who Wasn't There.
So going from the Western to a neo-noir, and going from Delmer Daves to the Coen brothers, which I know is probably a favorite dynamic duo of directing for many, many people. And this is the movie The Man Who Wasn't There from 2001. Now, this is like I said, a neo-noir. It takes place back in the 1940s, and at the center of the story is Billy Bob Thornton playing a barber, which doesn't sound too lively of a plot, but it's the Coen brothers, so you know there's going to be some things going on in here, and indeed there are. A few people who show up in this movie, like acting wise, Frances McDormand, of course. She's in like every Coen brothers movie, well,
Yeah,
not everyone,
not
most
everyone,
of them.
but a lot of them. Yeah.
Um, like I said, Billy Bob Thornton, James Gandolfini is in this movie, and it was so nice to see him on screen. Obviously, most famously for portraying Tony Soprano in The Sopranos. John Polito, who was another person who was a kind of Coen Brothers, part of their acting troupe, if you will. A very young Scarlett Johansson is in this film. Now, this is 2001, the same year that the movie Ghost World came out.
Mm.
So it was around that era of before Scarlett Johansson was uh, famous, before she had worked with Woody Allen in movies like Scoop and Match Point, and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, before she was Black Widow in the MCU, all before that. So it's a little preview of coming attractions of who Scarlett Johansson would be. She is in this movie. And who else is in here? Richard Jenkins pops up in here. Rhode Island's own Richard Jenkins. Tony Shalhoub is in here too. And the movie centers around, like I said, the Billy Bob Thornton character, who is a barber who is very much reserved. And there's a lot of inner monologue in the movie, a lot of inner thoughts working, all narrated by Billy Bob Thornton himself, of him just kind of like observing and just commenting on his life and things like that. He is married to the Frances McDormand character, and he has a speculation that she is having an affair with her boss, portrayed by James Gandolfini at, I believe, this department store. She is the accountant there. So she runs like the books and all that kind of stuff. And he has this idea that she is cheating on him, and he kind of doesn't quite care about it too much. Like, again, he's kind of a reserved guy inside of his own mind most of the time. But what happens is the John Polito character comes to town and gets a haircut from him, and and is talking to him about, he's a traveling salesman. He's trying to get people to buy into the idea of dry cleaning. Keep in mind, it's the 1940s. Dry cleaning isn't a thing yet. So dry cleaning is a brand new idea that that investors are trying to get people to buy into. And Billy Bob Thornton's character's never really taken a big risk in his life. He's never really done much of anything. There's a whole little instance in here where he wasn't able to serve in World War II because of something. He wasn't be able to get drafted. So he's trying to prove himself in some way, shape, or life in life. So he's going to buy into this new idea of dry cleaning, but he needs $10,000 to do so. So he decides he's going to blackmail his boss, because the blackmail Frances McDormand's boss, James Gandolfini, for the $10,000, or he's going to expose his affair and ruin this guy's career. That's the inciting incident. Now, that incident sets off kind of a chain reaction of the rest of the plot of the movie. I don't want to give it away. Because it's a neo-noir, there are twists and turns and things like that going on in the movie. Needless to say, he gets in way over his head because of this inciting incident, and the movie takes off from there. I really liked it. It's a different type of Coen Brothers movie because, like I said, it's a neo-noir. It's a relatively reserved film. It's not as outlandish as, say, something like Raising Arizona or even like The Big Lebowski. It's not as stylish as that. It's very much kind of a little bit toned down. And what's interesting is that now that the Coen brothers have split off into Ethan Coen making his own movies and Joel Coen making his own movies, you can kind of tell the difference in styles, then how when they came together, which style kind of overtook which movie. This feels like way more of a Joel Coen movie than an Ethan Coen movie. Ethan Coen has done Drive Away Dolls, and he's done Honey Don't, and you can kind of tell the zany, weird, quirky Coen Brothers movies like Raising Arizona or like Burn After Reading. Those feel like Ethan Coen movies, as opposed to like No Country for Old Men or The Man Who Wasn't There. Feels like a Joel Coen movie. And this does feel more like a Joel Coen movie because of its tone, because it's a little more serious, a little more straightforward. And I thought it's really, really good. Lush black and white cinematography by Roger Deakins, one of the most elite cinematographers of our time, I would say. It's got a great, like someone said in the comments here, it's got such a great atmosphere, and it does. And that leads because of the aesthetic of the movie and the tone of the movie. And it's not that it doesn't have lighter comedic moments, but they're like darker, like weird comedic moments. Like Tony Shalhoub comes in the movie, injects a little energy into it. He's a lawyer who is kind of like over the top, if you will. He's definitely a Coen Brothers character, but the Billy Bob Thornton character is straight laced as can be. Doesn't say a lot, doesn't really do a lot, and he kind of just gets himself in over his head because of his own mistakes. I really like the movie. I don't think this movie gets talked about a lot in the oeuvre of the Coen Brothers. I made mention of it in the most recent Chasing Labels episode. It's unfortunately one of those movies in a very long filmography that's sandwiched in between two more well-known movies. You know, it's sandwiched in between Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And and No Country for Old Men. I mean, there are a couple other movies within there, but those are the two kind of polar ones in there. For example, like, I don't know, people don't really talk about Intolerable Cruelty or The Lady Killers. You know what I mean? Those are the movies that are in between those two, but it feels like the two bigger ones are Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? No Country for Old Men. And this one lies in between those. So it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But I think if people rediscover it, they may be pleasantly surprised by how good it is. Steven, have you ever seen this movie? Just curious.
I've seen it. I have the Blu-ray here.
Oh, nice.
So I do have the film. I watched it back when I first bought this. I think I remember liking it okay. I think it is probably one of the things where I need to go and revisit it. I was probably expecting something a little different, but it's hard to kind of know what you're going to get with a Coen Brothers movie sometimes, depending on like you said, like which director kind of got more of their influence in. And I think I found the movie to be a little bit, I guess, lacking in a little bit in any kind of like charisma at all. It is very dry and in a sense tone deaf. So maybe because I know some of my more, other than No Country for Old Men, most of my favorite Coen Brothers movies are more quirky, whether it's like Fargo or something where there's a little bit more sense of humor in it. And so this was very like stark and very slow and very, methodical and but still had the Coen Brothers, characters and plotting. And I think for sure I need to rewatch it, but I think I remember the first time being like, okay, that was a movie.
It's interesting that you say that because I feel like that's its reputation. Yeah. I feel like that's its reputation. Like I said, what's interesting to me is I came to it also maybe it depends on how you're introduced to the Coen Brothers. For example, I came to the Coen Brothers, I think the first movie I saw from them was No Country for Old Men, which is not really indicative of what a lot of the Coen Brothers movies are like.
No, honestly, it might have been, but I'm pretty sure I saw Oh Brother, Where Art Thou before that. I'm pretty sure I did.
I remember Oh Brother, Where Art Thou when it came out. It was a big, massive hit. Especially the soundtrack for that movie was a massive hit. I think it won the Grammy for like album of the year or something. It was like that big of a hit of a movie from that perspective.
Saggy Bottom Boys.
Yeah, the Soggy Bottom Boys. Well, man of constant, yeah. Yeah,
Constant
what a great soundtrack.
sorrows. Yeah.
I think about that a lot, actually. It's also an adaptation of the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, you're going to probably be hearing a lot of people comparing "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" to Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey in a couple of months.
Double feature,
double feature, double adaptation.
Before you go to the cinema to see that movie, you need to watch "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" before.
You do. You do. What is interesting is I couldn't imagine, because I know I read The Odyssey when I was in college, and I'm pretty sure people probably the professors probably then showed people "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" as an adaptation of it. I don't know. That's something that they do. But The Man Who Wasn't There, like I said, shot by Roger Deakins. There is a Deakins interview on here that goes for about 12 minutes long. Now, I know on that Blu-ray that you have, I think has a much longer interview with Roger Deakins that goes for like 40-something minutes. I heard it's rather in-depth, and that is not on this 4K UHD release. But what is on here is a new interview with Joel and Ethan Coen from last year. That is 37 minutes long, and it's really nice. And it's nice because you get to see them kind of talking about the making of the movie, discussing the different characters, the storylines, the plot, and all that kind of stuff, how things came about, and what their ideas were for the movie. And it's really, really insightful. Like I said, it's also 37 minutes is a pretty long interview. And there is a making of as well. That's a little bit of a behind the scenes making of that they shot while making of the movie. Those little behind the scene things they do. That's about 10 minutes long. That's on this disc as well. And there's about 4 minutes of deleted scenes as well. I think it's like 1 or 2 deleted scenes that run about 4 minutes long. But it is a double disc release, the 4K UHD, as well as the Blu-ray behind it. And there is a skinny booklet in here that's got essays and things like that. Actually, it's one of the fold-outs.
We talked about this last month. I think that's the standard now.
That's the standard now.
Yeah.
On the back here is just a series of screenshots of characters and shots from the movie, so that you can see Frances McDormand, you can see Billy Bob Thornton, and all kinds of stuff from there. Awesome. So that's one of these folded. Now, make sure I fold this back up properly so I don't get any creases in it. That's one thing I hate about these things.
I'm waiting for somebody to, when this comes out, I'm waiting for somebody to tell us that they changed something in the movie.
I didn't see it. I didn't see that this time.
Well, we don't know. This don't come out till February 24th.
True, but it was the first time I had watched. No, second time I had watched the movie, so I wouldn't even know if they changed anything. But notoriously, 2 of the previous releases, Miller's Crossing, and even I think also in Blood Simple, there was something that was changed as well. And I know got people's feathers ruffled a little bit, but yeah, I really like this release. It also reminds me I do have to get both Blood Simple and
it reminds me I need to get most of the Coen Brothers stuff on Criterion.
Yes, that's what it does remind me of that as well. Also, I really want Joel Coen's Macbeth to get a Blu-ray release as well. That would be nice.
What about the Ethan Coen stuff?
Oh,
Honey, you don't want Honey Don't?
I do actually want Honey Don't and Drive Away Dolls. I
haven't seen either of them films yet, but I've heard Drive Away Dolls is pretty good. I've heard Honey Don't's not good.
It's a screenplay issue with both of those movies, more so with Honey Don't, in my opinion. But it's interesting. It's very interesting how for those.
I'm going to need to watch them, so I don't have any judgment. But that's just what I've heard.
Those movies, you can understand like I said, the dynamic between the Coen brothers and how kind of radically different they are.
I mean, it's funny. We got the Safdies who've split off.
And they also made different movies too.
Yeah, they're both sports movies, kind of.
True.
Somewhat sports movies.
Different structures though, and different.
Well,
type
I
of
think
pacing.
I think it's obvious that the tone, that intensity tone that previous Safdie brothers movies came from Josh Safdie.
Yeah, Marty Supreme feels like
Uncut
Uncut
Gems.
Gems,
Yeah.
feels like what's the one with Robert Pattinson?
Good time.
Good Time. Like it feels like that.
That uncomfortable, get me out of here nerve,
But even like the
nervousness.
pushing of the plot constantly going
Yeah.
forward and
Yeah.
the dynamic between the characters, the dialogue dynamic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can feel that in Marty Supreme.
Sure.
Whereas the Smashing Machine, not so much. It's more it's a slower paced type of movie, different type of movie too. Interesting that you mentioned because there are other brother
The
pairs.
brother teams keep splitting up. What are you guys doing?
Yeah. What is interesting is the Coens kind of broke the mold in terms of how you credit a movie when it comes to the DGA, the Directors Guild. Typically, you could only have one director being credited for directing the movie. I think that was the case, and then it didn't really change until the Coen brothers came along. And even if you look on IMDb, most of the movies are just have like Joel Coen as the credited director.
Yeah.
Um,
Odd.
that's interesting.
Hmm.
But
well,
anywho,
yeah,
that's
awesome.
That's the man who wasn't there.
Is there a favorite? I mean, I just showed Miller's Crossing's his favorite, one of his favorite films of Coen Brothers. You got a favorite film of Coen Brothers?
Is it too? I don't even know how to word this, but the Big Lebowski is probably the one I've watched the most.
You saying
I feel like it's the most
cliche?
rewatchable.
Is that the word you were looking for? Cliche.
Yes, cliche. I was going to say like film bro-y, but I don't think that's a term. But I'm just saying because I feel like that's one of those movies where everybody recommends it to people. Like, oh, have you seen The Big Lebowski? Oh, you haven't seen it? You got to watch it. It's amazing. And then if people watch it and sometimes they don't quite get it, it's one of those movies you got to get to kind of understand why it's so cool. But it's the one I've watched the most because I feel like it's I don't know, it's more in line with my liking. Fargo I've seen a few times. No Country for Old Men I don't think I've seen since like 2008.
Yeah.
Like it's been a while.
I've seen it multiple times, and I would say at the present moment, No Country's my favorite. I mean, like
that's probably their best movie. I'm putting best in quotes, like
it's tough.
Acting, directing, cinematography, script. Like that may be their best like movie.
For me, it's like how when we've talked about Scorsese and I talk about how The Departed has been one. It's and from the outside, like most people don't look to The Departed as being his best work, but for me, it just hit at the right time because that was when I was in my prime of growing into movie watching. That was like out of high school, and just like this was like right out of high school. This was what 2000. No Country was like 2007, 2006.
Yes.
So like that was like when I graduated high school. That was an important time for me as a movie watcher, as a film fan, and so that movie hit hard for me.
That was my similar to me. That was around that same time where I started to get into more, I wouldn't say heightened cinema, but like more serious movies.
Yeah, There Will Be Blood came out that same
that corridor right there, 06, 07, 08. Like that's when I started to pay more attention to the awards season, pay more attention to like who are the Coen brothers, who's Quentin Tarantino, who's Martin Scorsese, all that kind of stuff. I was like, 20 years old, at that time.
We're ever talking about this, and that was almost 2 decades ago.
Yeah, I know. Ironically, next year will be the 20th anniversary of the release of No Country for Old Men. This year is actually the 20th anniversary of The Departed. Now that you mention it,
hey, somebody else really loves The Departed. Second Scorsese.
It's a lot of people's favorite Scorsese because I think a lot of people also were introduced to Scorsese through it, or hit them at the right age or the right time.
I mean, I made the newer generation for sure, newer generations. But I think most people say Goodfellas. I think most people say Goodfellas, or if you're a really big Scorsese fan, they say Taxi Driver, or Raging Bull. It's
I think I didn't come to those until after The Departed.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like there's always one that gets you in. It's a gateway drug. Cinema
Yeah.
is a drug, and there's also gateway drugs within cinema.
Scorsese has a lot of gateways through many decades of filmmaking. You could catch him at any decade and be like, that movie's awesome. You know, like it's that easy. But all right, we went off on a film nerd tangent there at the end, but that is it for our Criterion Blu-ray reviews. Of course, go to criterion.com, criterioncollection.com to order these. I'm sure there's a flash sale coming up in February, so maybe you could grab one of these.
Yeah, if not, there's always the Barnes & Noble 50% off sale in July.
Yeah.
That will be, it's still happening. Barnes & Noble's still keeping physical media alive. I never thought I'd say that.
It's crazy. I thought they were almost done for, and now they're like, they carry everything. They're carrying Arrow stuff. They're carrying Radiant stuff. They're carrying Kino stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just like, dude, like
they're currently having a Radiance and Kino sale, 50% off. That's going till March 9th.
Yeah.
If you happen to see this video before then of March 9th, 2026, they're having a 50% off sale there. But yeah, that's where I get a lot of my Criterions, ironically. But if you can't wait until then, you can find these on Criterion.com, of course, and other online retailers as well. Now, this comes out later this month, so
February
this is not
24th.
Yes, this is coming out the 24th, which will probably be here sooner than you think. That's the way. That's the way time is moving right now.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
That is indeed, indeed.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for this review, and we will see you next month with another crop of Criterion reviews. See you guys.